I've been working on this thing, not a lot, but I checked for spark. It had spark in its old CJYJ or something spark plug. It's an old Echo. And I checked for spark. Not with an actual spark tester. I just checked it. I grounded the spark plug on the cylinder head, and it has spark, which I'm extremely surprised about. And I injected fuel into the carb, and what do you know? Cranks up. So, here we go. So, that's our new project. Another blower from my uncle. So it has compression. Everything's good. It's got a working engine in it, as we can hear. You know, it needs a little bit of love here and stuff, but it's working. We're gonna get this thing up. Could use that cleaned out. I'm gonna tear into that carburetor, look at the fuel lines, gas tank, and yeah, let's go. Part 2, actually, not the introduction. So just gonna inject fuel into it a couple of times, see if I can get it running for a while. All right, let's go. Welcome back to American Outdoors, and today we have a new blower to work on. So let's get right into the video. Got my workbench, kind of, and it does have compression. And it has spark. So, let's do it. So there's 4 screws to hold this plastic cover, which I'm removing now. And I'm thinking it's a carburetor issue because it hasn't been running a while, or a fuel line issue. Because I actually injected gas into it and it started right up and ran for a few seconds. Some screws down here. So it's a PB-300E. I just saw that on the way bottom now. I believe it's around 1980s Echo. Ants. Jeez. Alright. There's my tub here. That's Lenny's cage that I haven't gotten ready yet for him. I must have stepped in their nest. Hold on. Let me get some water. All right. Now what is holding this thing? Oh, there's one screw right here. There we go. That one was tight, that screw. Am I getting this? Okay, yeah, I'm getting all that. Aw, shoot. Do I have to take the recoil off? I think I do. Yeah, I have to take the recoil off. try this again, but it wasn't doing its job. I gotta get a different size. I just locked up my tool chest. Let me go get a different size. Alright. Got my different size. This might not be the different. There we go. Well, folks, that recoil is not coming off. I don't really want to beat on this old tool, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm not missing a screw, so I'm inspecting the carburetor right from here. And looks like those fuel lines look pretty old, but looks all right in there. There we go. Had a gasket on it. Oh boy, look at that gasket. Gonna have to make a new one of those. Alright. Let's see what's under the hood. Oh yeah, look at that gas tank right there. Gonna have to clean all that junk out of there. Look at that muffler, just burned through everything here. Yeah, that spark arrestor screen in there looks awful too. Man, this thing needs to be cleaned up. But we've looked under the hood. You can see that. That's where the carburetor is. It's a pretty simple engine. Simple to get to. Cylinder head, you know, you got your spark plug. It's pretty easy right here. Let's see, is choke working? Choke's working. So, I can say that this does not look like any backpack blower I've seen, because this is one of the first backpack blowers to ever come out. Hey, it's got a Walbro carburetor in it, so it's got a good carburetor. Throttle cable's all linked up. I already tried that. This is actually my first backpack blower I'm working on, so I might get some stuff wrong. So, yeah. Now, I have to take off this to get to my carburetor. There's 4 screws on the air filter. Phillips. Kind of blocking the camera, but I bet not a lot of people have worked on these things, so I'll kind of go through it in the words. So there's 4 screws on that cover here. You can see them in there. Dump them into there. So here's your carburetor. Another bad gasket there. So I guess let's look into it. Dang sugar ants again. Those are some thick fuel lines. But there's only one. Because this one doesn't have a primer on it because it's old and they didn't have primers. Only had the choke. And that was it. There we go. Gasket. Let's take this off. Man, this thing needs to be cleaned off. I don't think we're getting any fuel to the carburetor at all with that fuel line all clogged up. got my needle nose. Got to take off this throttle cable and this fuel line. Gonna try not to harm it, but might just need a new one at this point. Man, that thing is really stuck on there. Boom. Alright, now what I'm gonna do is take off the throttle cable. Ugh, cockroach eggs. Yeah, this thing has been sitting in a shed for a while now. So, keep in mind. That's what our carburetor looks like. Look at my hands. Alright, I'm gonna take my syringe and inject some fuel through that. Get it flowing. I honestly think that thing might be clogged, but let's get into this carburetor. From the looks of it, looks pretty bad, but I mean, we might have to order a new one, so I'm gonna take off the, oh man, metering side? I'm not sure. I believe this is the metering side. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh shoot. Oh no, I found the problem right here already. This might not be the full problem, but look at that inlet screen. I believe that's what it's called. Remember, I'm an amateur. I'm 12. So just, I would like feedback, honestly, because I want to know if I'm doing this wrong. I would love to get, spiders and everything in your daddy long legs. Hate spiders. Those are in all these old blowers and stuff, though. So that's the inlet screen right there. So I'm gonna flush that out with carb cleaner. And actually, if you look, try and get all that old gas out of there. It's getting windy. It's getting windy. I don't want my camera to drop. Now we're gonna go to the pumping side. Maybe I have them mixed up. Remember, this doesn't have a primer either, so I usually work on things that have a primer. Okay, I'm done with these ants. I get my bucket of water again. Alright, so I also like to keep all my screws and stuff in a bin like that. I prefer it big, so you can't miss it. If you're not familiar with this, I'd recommend taking a picture. This carburetor might be not worth it to put diaphragms in, but I've seen this thing run before. It just hasn't been used in so long because it's, like I said in the first part of this series, it's obsolete pretty much. I mean, it still runs, and I'll probably use it for leaf cleanup and stuff, but I'm in Florida, and that doesn't come around very much. So, I cannot seem to... Where'd I put that? So I'm trying to get that off, but it won't come off. Yeah, no, this might just be so old that the diaphragm is just part of this now. I really didn't. There we go. Didn't want to have to do that, but it looks surprisingly clean in there. Now here comes the bad part. Let's see how bad this diaphragm is. Been sitting with old gas in it probably. Might even peel apart. Oh, geez. Oh, yep. This might not be roasted, honestly. So it did break. See how bad the actual... Oh, geez. I think this is going to require a new carb kit. Diaphragm is surprisingly kind of flexible. That's surprising, but let's get this inlet screen cleaned out, flush it all out with carb cleaner, and then I'll come back. Let me take this off of the tripod so it doesn't spill. So what I recommend, see all these little holes here? Flush them all out. If you have carb cleaner, get a little nozzle on them. Flush them all out with carb cleaner, including this. This is the inlet screen, and that's the needle and rocker. If you want to go deep into it, you can take this out, but it's got a spring in it, and it's a lot to put back together. So try and get your tube of carb cleaner all into those little ports. Remember to wear safety glasses and a mask. I'll be back. Ladies and gentlemen, I put it back together. Cleaned out the carb. Running! Putting out a lot of smoke. I'm gonna have to investigate that. That's awesome. Still a few things I need to do. Gotta put it back together fully. It is running. So I'll go over all the steps on a carburetor that I have, an old one. Woo! Okay, so I said I'd demonstrate how I clean the carb on an old carb I had. So I'm actually in my pajamas right now. It's raining outside and it's nighttime. So this is an old carb I had. I got it from my garage. I just have 2 old carbs just in case I come along something that needs one of these, like the needle and rock or something. But I already robbed all the good parts that like are easy to rob, like the needle and rocker. I'm gonna keep on there. But so I need some of those or something like that. So I'm gonna show you how I do it. So I got my little pencil pointer here. So in here, it's not actually in there. This is a very old carburetor. This is actually off of an Echo PB-300 blower, the first model of blower to ever be made. Go watch that video. So here would be your inlet screen. And correct me if I'm wrong on that, but there's no screen in there. But on modern carburetors, that's where it would be. And take your carb spray, or even just take a pokey object, and you can see all that filth on there, mostly on these old carbs. And that's one of the main problems sometimes, because say the fuel filter doesn't get up all that dirt and junk in there, and it all passes through into this. Then it's going to go all into your fuel lines and stuff like that. So blow out that really good with carb cleaner, I recommend, or compressed air. And then blow out all these little ports, but do not aim this at your face, because or any of these ports, they spray out of this too. Spray out of these ports. They're all connected almost. And yeah, just spray it all out of there. Spray all that junk off of there. That's better to do with, something liquid, kind of like carb cleaner. I have a little nozzle on my carb cleaner. Usually they come with it. A little red nozzle or something like that. You stick it like a WD-40 can. So blow out all those little ports there. Not the screw ports. You don't need to blow out those. There's even a little port in there. So clean that gunk off. It just makes it look kind of better too. So blow out all those ports. Blow out that port. That's an important port. that lines up and it gets gas, I believe. That's an important port that you need to blow out. Blow out all those little ports. I keep saying ports, but blow out all those little holes. And then if you really want to dig deep into it, you can take off the needle and rocker, but that's a lot of little parts, so if you can, just try and blow down in there. And then we don't actually have a primer on this old Echo, but if we did, or just the other side of that carburetor, blow all that out, blow all those little things out. And of course, that's the diaphragm spot. There's something right there. You need to clean all that. That actually had some gunk on it, so blow all that out. And then even you can just blow it all off with like a blower, like a leaf blower or something too after that. Maybe like a little battery one. I have a little battery one. So you saw what I did there, and then, clean out all that. And then your fuel line, I usually say that's like the little hole in your fuel line. I take a syringe if it's big enough, like, how injecting fuel to see if it has spark compression and stuff. But I take a syringe and then I just stick it into the little hole. Not this one, but on a fuel line, a plastic rubber fuel line. And I stick it in the little hole, and then I push on the syringe and, say there's any old junk in there or something, it all blows it in. Blows it out, and then I take, the fuel lines off and I blow it out and see if gas comes through. So, say this is your fuel line, and then there's just going to be a little hole. You attach the syringe to that, blow it all out, and it should come out the other side. And, I do that, and then, of course, change your fuel filter, clean your spark arrestor, make sure you have the proper gas mix. I need to do those still. I haven't done that yet. And clean off your spark plug too. I need to do that on this one. It helps you get better spark and helps your engine run better. Oh, and of course, this is an old Echo air filter. At this point, you might as well just wash this off and then blow it off, because this is all that black oil and gunk that builds up in engines when they've been sitting like that and stuff, old engines. So that's what builds up on your spark arrestor screen too. Carbon, or no, that's not carbon, but just clean all that filthiness out of your air filter. That's regular maintenance, and spark plugs are. So, blow out all those little ports, look at your fuel filters, take off your fuel lines, blow them all out. Clean your air filters, and change spark plugs or clean them off. Make sure the gap in between them is good. And yeah, that's how I did it. That's how I got it running. And then we'll have to maintain a little bit more, because yeah, that was just getting it running. So glad it's running, and that's how you do stuff. That's how you clean a carburetor.